What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Drites Bros Sports channel. Ethan here once again bringing you another ESPN mock draft. I want to try to draft from the middle of a 12-team round. This time I am at pick 5, so we'll see how it goes. Before this draft starts, guys, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content at all, like anything I say, want to see more. Support the channel. It would mean a lot just to get a couple subscribers, as we are a very new and trying to be an upcoming channel. And I know the content's very raw still, but and a little repetitive. We're just doing mocks so far, but I'm really enjoying doing these mocks for you guys. So yeah, like and subscribe. Also, as we get started here, please feel free to leave comments. I've been hammering down and repeating myself, asking you guys to comment anything we talk about on this draft. Give me your opinions on players we talk about. Give me your opinion on what my team looks like at the end. I always rank it out of 10. And let's make this pick here as we are on the clock. A couple guys we'll talk about. Wow, interesting. Amon-Ra St. Brown went. Okay, I really like Hill and Chase. I also like Breece Hall. If you're trying to go the running back route, take Breece Hall. If you're trying to go with the big value, I'm going to lock up Tyreek Hill there. But yeah, we'll talk more about Tyreek Hill in just a second. But yeah, guys, another thing, if you want to comment maybe some like your personal draft spot and your draft like kind of league setup a little bit. Like if you're in a 10-team PPR league and you are pick 7, let me know in the comments and I can try to draft in that spot for you on ESPN. So, yeah, feel free to leave those comments. I have no requests as of now, so if you comment, you might be the first one. I might just send it like the next day or something. So I'd appreciate if you guys locked in those comments. But yeah, Tyreek Hill, guys, I did not expect him to fall there to my 5. I mean, a full PPR, I definitely value receivers more than I do running backs. Breece Hall is a great value, but I like the upside of Tyreek Hill. I did go Tyreek Hill. I wouldn't have blamed you if you went Reese or Breece Hall or Jamar Chase. I like them as well. Here we go. Guys, let me know what your thoughts on like the Bijan Robinson versus Breece Hall are. I do like Breece Hall more than Bijan this year. I just think the Falcons like Tyler Algier, and I think Tyler Algier is still going to get at least some carries. I mean, I know they've hyped up Bijan's like using him more around the red zone, giving him more carries. I've heard that so many times though, guys. I mean, I like Breece Hall over him. There's no other really guy behind Breece Hall. I think he's going to be the workhorse, and it's not going to be really close. And with Aaron Rodgers being there, the offense should have an uptick in productivity. So I'm a Breece Hall guy over Bijan Robinson, but Bijan Robinson still is a first-round pick. I mean, I still like him. So let me know your thoughts on that as we approach our next pick. So we went Tyreek Hill. We have a Dolphins player there. Like the Dolphins offense, that feels great. Tyreek Hill's a baller. Looking at our next pick here, absolutely we'll be looking at running backs. I'm probably going to go Kyren if I don't get sniped. And I got sniped. So I could go Etienne. I do not mind Etienne. I think he is a solid player. I could also go Devontae Adams or Marvin Harrison Jr. What I'm going to do is I feel like I almost need to snag Etienne just because I think the value at running back after I already went receiver with my first pick, Etienne is kind of like it goes Kyren for me, Etienne, and then a small tier break as we get into like the Rashad Whites and the Joe Mixon kind of guys. So I'll lock up Etienne. There's no way I was getting him at my next pick. So I don't mind that. We probably will look to go another receiver at this next pick unless we have like no one that we love and like a Rashad White still there. Interesting, Josh Allen goes at the very beginning of the 3rd round. That seems a little early, but I mean, I guess if you love Josh Allen and you want to prioritize those quarterbacks, you can go for it. That's what happens in a lot of our home redraft leagues, as most of you may know. Quarterbacks may get reached on a little bit, which is fine. If you know what you're doing, then you could take advantage of all the value that falls because of it. So we don't mind that. Here we go, approaching our next pick. Joe Mixon's still there and Rashad White. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of Devon Achane, even though middle of the third round, if he's still there, not a horrible value. I still rather go Rachaad White over him, so that's an option. Drake London's still there. That's an interesting possibility. Probably not going quarterback. We're just not going quarterback or tight end right now. So it's between Rachaad White or Achane, or not Achane, Rachaad White or Drake London. I think I like their wide receiver value just later in the rounds. I'm going to lock up my RB2 right now. Travis Etienne, Rachaad White, Tyreek Hill feels like a really, really nice and solid start to a draft. And now since we have both of our running backs locked up, I don't have to worry about prioritizing like a Zamir White or David Montgomery a little bit later. Now we can just punch in the rest of our lineup, our flex spot, our rest of our receivers, quarterback, tight end we can keep looking at. So that feels good to have that kind of done. I feel like when I'm doing my mocks lately, that's the builds that I feel best about is when I lock in my two running backs I feel kind of confident in early. And then I can build out the rest of my team because there's always going to be values in receiver falling. And there's so many good receivers. And then on top of that, you get people picking like Josh Allen at the beginning of the third. That pushes down guys even farther. So it feels really good to be able to do that and not have to worry about your running backs. Because one of the things we all hate, guys, I mean, at the end of the draft, you look at your team and it's like your RB2 is someone that you just feel horrible about. And even if you make like a sick team around it and you're doing like a hero RB build and you're supposed to wait for that running back, it just feels kind of gross. So I feel more confident in my ability to lock up my flex spot with a receiver later than I do to lock it and push the receiver. What am I saying? Pushing the running back position down and locking in all those other spots first and then feeling gross about my RB later. So let me know your guys' opinion on that, but I feel pretty good about it. So, yeah, here we go now. We're about to approach our pick here in our fourth-round pick here in just a couple of spots. We have Stephon Diggs there, who is getting a lot of hype out of training camp very early in training camps here, guys. It's July 23rd or something right now. He's catching touchdowns from C.J. Stroud all over the place in training camp. He looks great. I think he's going to be a good PPR play. He's going to probably get minimum 4 or 5 catches every game. The thing with Stephon Diggs also that I like is Tank Dell is coming off that injury. I really do feel like Tank Dell's the third guy out. Like, if someone gets hurt and Tank Dell's fine, then he's going to be a good play. But I do like Stephon Diggs way more than I like Tank Dell. Nico Collins it's pretty much Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, 1A, 1B. We don't get them, though, which is fine. So we're looking for a receiver here. It's between Devontae Smith or Debo, and we're also looking at Malik Nabers. This is tough because I like all of these guys. Malik Nabers is probably the third out of them. It's between Devontae Smith and Debo. I'm going to go Debo. I just like having Debo on some of my teams because I really do feel like the 49ers offense works when Debo's in there. Now, he's competing with a lot of people for targets. And it looks like Brandon Ayuk, he reported a training camp today. He's probably going to be on the team this year. He's probably going to be playing on the 49ers, which is great if you're a 49ers fan. If you're a fantasy footballer and you're picking a guy like Debo, it kind of hurts you a little bit. But we saw them all play together last year. Debo Samuel, he still balled out. He still was a great player. Maybe not week to week as consistent, because of the mouths to feed in that offense. Maybe there's some inconsistency in weeks. As my wide receiver 2 behind Tyreek Hill, though, Debo Samuel feels good. As long as that guy's able to stay healthy this year, Debo Samuel's going to be a good player in real life and in fantasy. So we like that. We like Debo. 49ers offense is going to be great. We'll take it. Wide receiver 2. So here we're looking at our flex position. I will take a peek at quarterback and tight end. We still have Mark Andrews and Kincaid. I'm going to have a hard time not taking one of those guys here if they're both still there. We will pass on quarterback. We could lock up C.J. Stroud or Dak right now. It seems early, though. And there's other quarterbacks like Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Jordan Love that I like as well. So we're not going to do that. We don't get Malik Nabers. Zay Flowers is still there, which isn't going to be a bad flex option. but I like Kincaid. I'm going Kincaid. I really like Kincaid as like that kind of tier breaker. I think it goes like Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce guys, Laporta guys, and all of them are in like one tier with Kincaid. Kincaid's the last guy in that tier, and then there's a small drop off to Evan Ingram and George Kittle and Pitts, and then there's a drop off again. So I'm fine locking up that last of that top tier of my tight end group with Kincaid. Feels really good. We're still looking for flex and our quarterback, though, so we're going to have to really prioritize those things coming up. The thing that also kind of went through my mind there, picking a tight end instead of solidifying our flex, is like a Malik Neighbors wasn't there still, and I don't love Zay Flowers. I had on my team last year, and I loved him, but the problem is Zay Flowers is coming into a team this year where it's still run heavy, and they have all of their weapons back. Mark Andrews is healthy. They're going to have Derrick Henry, so they're going to probably want to run the ball even more. And I just don't like the upside of Zay Flowers on a week-to-week basis, so I'd rather just go with Kincaid, who I think has a high upside at the tight end position, and I still like a lot of these receivers coming up. So I can lock in one of them at my flex position a little bit later. I was going to say, for example, T. Higgins, as he just goes about 6 picks before us. That's fine, though, because we still got guys on the board like a George Pickens. Now, Tank Dell, guys, at the end of the 6th round is a good value. I wouldn't dock anyone for picking him there. Keenan Allen and McLaurin are still there, as well as Christian Kirk. We already have Travis Etienne, though, so I'm probably not going to take Christian Kirk. And those are kind of the guys I'm looking at. Tank Dell, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, and they all feel about the same in the same kind of tier. I could go with a Joe Burrow here and just kind of wait to see who my flex gets forced to be. I do like Joe Burrow, guys. I could wait longer, though, and get Jordan Love. So it's kind of like, who do you value more? I think I'm going to take Joe Burrow. And one of the reasons is because I don't get him a lot in my mocks. But I also think Joe Burrow is going to ball out this year if he's healthy. I think the Cincy offense is ready after last year with the injuries. They're ready to have like a healthy year, and they're ready to go off. Now, here's the thought process, though. Is like, should I have waited on Joe Burrow and just been okay with drafting like a Kyler Murray, Jordan Love, as Kyler Murray just goes there, and value my flex spot more with one of these receivers? Now, I think it's going to end up paying off okay here. We have to get a little lucky because I want Keenan Allen or Terry. We have 3 picks to go. And if we don't get those guys, then I don't like it. And then I regret it because I'm going to have to settle with probably like a Christian Watson as my flex player because I don't love Rashee Rice. Now, Rashee Rice is good, but now that they added Hollywood and Xavier Worthy, I feel like the mouths to feed in the offense are just too many. The upside's not there, in my opinion. Now, obviously, the upside is there for the Kansas City offense by itself. They're going to be an awesome offense, but I think the mouths to feed, including Travis Kelce, I'm looking for a high upside player. So here we go. We have Keenan Allen or Terry McLaurin. Now, if I took Keenan Allen, I like him. I think he could easily be the wide receiver 1. But the problem with that is the mouths to feed again. They have a decent amount of mouths to feed. I'm going to go with a guy I don't get a lot of in Terry McLaurin. I think with Jane Daniels coming in and Terry McLaurin being easily the number 1 receiver on that team, I think he should have some high upside with like the target share. And I feel like he kind of had a down year last year, which would make sense because, he had 4 touchdowns last year. It makes sense because of the quarterback play, right? If Terry McLaurin, if Jane Daniels is going to be any uptick to the quarterback play at all, Terry McLaurin's going to have a better year touchdown-wise and probably a better year all around. So instead of being position ranked 28 at the end of the season, maybe he goes up until like the top 15. So having a guy like that at my flex feels really good. So as we approach our next pick, now we're just getting bench guys. And we're not going to overthink it too much. We're just going to take guys that we think have some high upside. Looking at the team, though, I am liking it. I am a little conflicted because I feel like we start off Travis Etienne, Rachaad White, Tyreek Hill, Debo. I love that 4 start. I do kind of fall off a little bit with my Joe Burrow, Terry McLaurin, Dalton Kincaid selections. I think we kind of could have done a little better, maybe not taking Kincaid and solidified the flex. Instead of Kincaid, maybe we could have got like an Amari Cooper kind of player or T. Higgins kind of player at my flex. Could have stacked a T. Higgins kind of guy with a Joe Burrow, and then we could have had our tight end position just pushed down and maybe settle with like an Njoku or a even if we have to, like a Brock Bowers kind of guy. Now, I wouldn't have loved the way my tight end looked anymore, so it's the give and take, right? It's just how you prefer to build your team. I think I find myself wanting a solid flex player that I just really like and feel good about. But also the value of a tight end position is also important. So it's kind of personal preference at the end of the day. I still like the way the team looks. I mean, I like Joe Burrow, I like McLaurin, I like Kincaid. So it just started off feeling like a 10 out of 10, and now it feels like more of an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. So we'll figure out what our ranking is at the end. Our next pick is approaching. Of course, Raheem Mostert gets picked 2 spots ahead of me. I have not been able to get Raheem Mostert nearly as much as I did like 4 weeks ago anymore. Like, he's always gone, it seems like. And it's very frustrating because he's a guy I target all the time. And Raheem Mostert, people are picking up on the Raheem Mostert hype. So I'm looking at running backs here. I mean, I could reach for like a Zach Moss. I have a Joe Burrow. That could be kind of interesting. Nah, not doing that. We're going to reach a little bit on a Lad McConkey. I would take a Marquise Brown. The problem with that is I just talked about Rashee Rice earlier. There's too many mouths to feed. I don't love the upside because there's too many guys. I mean, I feel like for the Chiefs offense, you're seeing Travis Kelce getting like a minimum of 5 or 6 targets a game. And then there's maybe 20 targets left. How many targets are going to running backs? How many targets are going to a Xavier Worthy? I feel like the upside is like you're going to have to plan on like 5 targets a game for these kinds of guys and just hope that one of them's like a long touchdown score. So I'm looking elsewhere, usually like a McConkey. I like the upside of the rookie in that offense that doesn't have a lot of good receivers. We're just hoping he comes on with Justin Herbert as the year goes on, and that'll pay off. Now, as we're talking about all these Chiefs receivers, guys, so we have Marquise Brown that just went. We talked about Rashee Rice. Travis Kelce goes super early. A guy I'm okay taking in that offense is like the last one. Who's the best value? Xavier Worthy. I mean, if you're going to take a guy from the Chiefs offense, wait for Xavier Worthy. Just get him in the 9th, 10th round, as I might do here. And just, that you can swing for the fence there later. But like, just get other guys before him, like Rashee Rice and the Marquise Brown going a little bit earlier. Just like let people take them and take other values. And then you can, if you want a part of the Chiefs wide receiver room, just take Xavier Worthy as late as you can. Just that last guy taken. That's kind of what I'd like to do with that receiving room. I am tempted to take a running back because we are very, very weak on running backs right now. I mean, I have my 2 starters and that's it. So I'm tempted to go like with a Blake Corum, a Charbonnet. I think I can just wait and take like Brown and Dowdle, as you guys know I like. So let's go with like an Adunze or a Coleman or Xavier Worthy. I'm going to take Xavier Worthy here, maybe a slight reach. Maybe could have waited, but I think there's a great chance he's going to get taken. So as I was just talking about all the target share in the Chiefs offense and why I try to stay away from it, I'm okay with taking the Xavier Worthy guy as the last one of those guys that goes very much later. If you want a part in the Chiefs offense, which I wouldn't mind a part of the Chiefs offense. I think it's going to be a good offense. I just want to take the guy that's latest. And then at the end of the day, it pays off big time if a Marquise Brown gets hurt, if a Rashee Rice gets suspended. And then all of a sudden you have the wide receiver 2 in that offense. So I'm fine with that. Now we do own 5 receivers, and we only own 2 running backs. So I think here I've forced myself, which I'm okay with, to go running back for my bench spots coming up. The next couple picks are probably going to be running back. And that's fine because it's all just bench guys. We're just going to take some guys that we think have a pathway to be league winners. Blake Corum's still there. He'd be the guy I take at my pick in the middle of the 10th round. He probably won't be there, so I'm looking at guys like Zach Charbonnet or Chase Brown. I really like Chase Brown, especially in this mock draft, because I have a Joe Burrow. So that feels like it could be kind of fun to be able to lock up Chase Brown at the bench, and then after Chase Brown, I can go for like a Tyler Algier and or a Dowdle. So that's going to be the plan. Kind of boring as we get late into these ESPN mocks. I know it gets boring with these bench guys. I do think it's important to talk about them, though. I think when I'm watching other content on YouTube, I like when people are talking about these sleeper guys because, I mean, at the end of the day, we all want to get that next Puka, right? So, sorry, my nose is kind of congested. I keep having to try to breathe. So, Zach Charbonnet or Chase Brown. I think because I have Joe Burrow, we'll go Chase Brown. I do like Zach Charbonnet. I think if I didn't have Joe Burrow, I'd probably take Charbonnet. Charbonnet goes right after. So, yeah. I mean, I maybe could have gone Chase Brown there or Zach Charbonnet there. Like I said, with Joe Burrow being my quarterback, I'll take a shot at Chase Brown. So, I think here we're targeting Algier. Now, if Algier gets taken, I'll reach on Dowdle. And that's the plan for this next pick. And then after that, we kind of even out the squad a little bit so we can maybe go receiver, running back with our next pick or our next two picks. We'll see, though. Here's some auto picks. Ooh, defense auto picks. Okay, so we get Algier. Now, guys, talk about Tyler Algier for a second. We touched on it earlier when we talked about Bijan Robinson. At the end of the day, you're picking Tyler Algier in the 11th round. I think the coaching staff likes him. I mean, they were giving him a lot of carries last year still. I think they're going to be giving him similar amounts of carries, regardless of what they say about Bijan Robinson. I think Tyler Algier is a much better goal line back. Now, I don't think Bijan Robinson's a bad goal line back. I just think Tyler Algier's a little bit bigger body, and they would rather use him in like the inside the 10. So there's some touchdown upside, as well as like a little bit of a floor because he's gonna get touches in that offense. So minimum, he's like a bench worthy like guy to come off the bench for bye weeks. Most likely, right? We don't know for sure. But another thing about it though is he's a handcuff. If anything happens to Robinson, Tyler Algier is an RB1, like a low-end RB1 in fantasy. So I do not mind taking a guy like that in the 11th round. So we're probably gonna get lucky, not really lucky, but a little bit lucky here, and lock up our 5th and maybe final running back with Rico Dowdle, which I am very happy to take in every mock draft, even though it's very repetitive and maybe a little bit boring for you guys. That's just a guy I'm targeting, and there's no other guys around this area that I love. So you just keep taking them and hope that no one catches on. So we're taking Rico Dowdle. I did see Marshawn Lloyd just get picked right before me too. The Green Bay third-string running back, the rookie. I just saw that he's hurt. I think something with a hamstring injury at the very beginning of training camp. Huge red flag, guys. I mean, take him late as a flyer, sure, not a huge deal. But when a rookie comes in and he's battling hamstring injuries like that at the beginning of his career, and he's already the third running back on the depth chart, I'm passing on that. Take Rico Dowdle all day. To even take guys like Jalen Wright or Tracy Jr. or Ray Davis over him at this point. I mean, and they also are hyping up A.J. Dillon too. So it's like that guy's probably never going to see the field. It's going to take a lot of going right for him to see the field. So I'm not doing that. Just looking at the bench. Okay. I think we'll go 2 more receivers because there's a couple of receivers I really like. I like Adonai Mitchell, who I drafted in my mock yesterday. We don't have to talk too much about him. I just think there's a chance that that Colts offense is good, and I think that people like in the Colts organization, they're gonna like him as the rookie. I think there's a possibility for him to have some upside in that offense. He probably is going to need like some luck, maybe some injury luck or something to happen for him to really have like a high ceiling of any sorts. But I don't know. I just kind of like want to take a piece of the Colts offense late in my draft. That's kind of my rationale behind that. So my next pick here, the reason why I want to go with another receiver is I'm seeing a lot of guys I really like. Now, Josh Dotson, we've drafted a lot. We're not going to take him because we have McLaurin, but I do like Josh Dotson as like your last bench spot. That's a great pick. We've talked about Josh Palmer, another guy very similar to Dotson. Like he has a chance to be a weapon in that Chargers offense. I have McConkey, so we're not going to take him. Purcell, we talked some about, he's already hurt as a rookie, not going there. Actually, Purcell might be the one that has the hamstring injury, which is the red flag. I don't know about Marshawn Lloyd. Maybe I'm so confused about that. If you guys watched this far into the video and noticed that, correct me if I'm wrong about Marshawn Lloyd, but I thought I saw both of them get hurt already. Maybe not. This Josh Downs guy, I'd rather have the rookie over Josh Downs. He's way down here in the rankings. I'm going with Wicks, who I don't get a lot of because I'm always getting Christian Watson and Dobbs before Wicks. So there's like, I'm never getting Wicks. I almost think I'd rather have Wicks over Dobbs on this point. Let's not overthink this at all. Let's just go with Bengals defense, and then we'll get whatever kickers here. I really like Wicks, and I liked him, watching the Green Bay offense last year. Green Bay is also, and if you guys watched my video yesterday that I posted in the mock draft, I talked a lot about the Green Bay offense. I just want a part of the Green Bay offense, even if it's like my last pick of my draft and I get Wicks. Watching the Green Bay offense last year in Wicks, those wide receivers all ate. Now, all you need to happen is like one injury, and you just have to hope it's not like the guy you picked. So if like something happens with Christian Watson and his hamstring issues, or if Jaden Reed, I think it is. I think he's already got something going on with him in training camp here. He's not going to play or something like that. He's going to – then all of a sudden these guys all get an uptick in their value, and they could be league winners at the end of the day. So, yeah, you need a couple things to go right because there's a lot of mouths to feed in that Green Bay offense. But I really like just getting a flyer on good offenses at the ends of my drafts. So, and then you just see what happens and hope something happens, and then maybe they become league winners, maybe they become useful. At the very least, hopefully you can like play them in your bench spots on bye weeks or with injuries and stuff, and then they're like somewhat of values because they're in good offenses. So I really like this team now because I love the bench, what we did with the bench, and then as we've talked about, I really like the starting lineup, even though like there's something about the order that I picked Joe Burrow, Kincaid, and McLaurin in. I think I maybe would rather have passed on Kincaid and picked a different flex player. And then maybe I would have still gotten Joe Burrow and then picked like a later tight end. Maybe the tight end position would have looked a little worse. So it doesn't knock it down a lot, I don't think, when I'm ranking the end of this mock here. But I think it's definitely not a 10 out of 10, right? So here's the deal, though. Let's quickly go through this. Really like Joe Burrow. Now, I don't have a stack with Joe Burrow in my starting lineup, but that's fine because I still think Joe Burrow is going to ball out. Like Travis Etienne and Rachaad White, I think that both of their floors are very high because of their pass-catching abilities and PPR. I don't necessarily think their ceilings are super, super high. Now, they're high because they're both RB1s in their teams and they don't have a lot of competition. So they have high ceilings. I just don't necessarily think it's like crazy. I just think they're both solid. Now, having Tyreek Hill and Debo as my wide receiver 1 and 2 just looks sweet to me. It looks awesome. They're both high ceiling guys. Tyreek Hill way more so than Debo, obviously, because Debo's competing more with targets. But I think Debo, the 49ers offense works best and runs through like a Debo Samuel with his multiple skill set in their offense, and I think he just is like guaranteed to get targets and looks every game, including like touchdown opportunities, rushing and or receiving, which makes him like that dual threat, really, really valuable guy in real life. So I think that translates a little bit to fantasy, even though it may not be super consistent. So having Tyreek Hill Debo feels really good. Kincaid, we went with that tight end, so I can't say now that I am like looking at Kincaid as my tight end still feels good as we're going through this individually through the starting lineup. That feels really good. I'm really high on Kincaid this year. Terry McLaurin. I like Terry McLaurin because of the possibility that Jane Daniels comes in and Terry McLaurin goes off because of the better quarterback play. At the end of the day, having Terry McLaurin in my starting lineup doesn't like feel amazing. It feels good, it feels fine, but it doesn't feel amazing. He's an older wide receiver. He's been banged up I can't click on him now. He's been banged up a little bit over the past couple of seasons. If he's able to stay healthy, he's going to be a great player this year. If he's going to battle injuries, it's going to be a bad pick. That's kind of just how that goes. I feel like that's like a mid pit, like a mid thing, a mid flex player. Like it doesn't feel great, does not feel bad by any means. It just feels like fine, feels good. Kicker, defense don't matter. Now the bench in this draft is what's going to keep it as a high grade for me. I absolutely love being able to have Ladd McConkey, high upside receivers, Ladd McConkey, Worthy, and then we got guys like Adonai Mitchell and Wicks. Good offenses, right? What feels really good is the backup running backs we got because I love Chase Brown in that Cincy backfield. I mean, maybe you like Zach Moss. I think Zach Moss is okay. He had a great year last year. He's battled a lot of injuries over his career. So, I mean, if he gets hurt at all, and then Chase Brown's that guy, and he's going to in a great offense with a healthy Joe Burrow, right? So that feels good. Tyler Algier, we talked a lot about him and Robinson, so I'm not going to go too much into Algier anymore. Dowdle, talked about him a lot in my other videos, my other mocks. I just think he could be the RB1 for the Cowboys. So that bench feels great. That's going to keep it up closer to that 9 range. So I think my final ranking for this draft out of 10 is going to be a 9. Now, I love the starting lineup besides like a little bit of a weird thing that I've been talking about with the tight end, the flex, and the quarterback selections. That knocks it down to a 9, right? It's a 10 out of 10, and because I feel weird about that, I'm knocking it down to a 9. And then the bench keeps it at a 9. Now, if I didn't like the bench as much, this draft goes down to maybe an 8, 8.5 for me. But I really, really like the bench, so I'm keeping this at a 9. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. That's going to do it for today. Feel free to comment, as I keep saying. Like and subscribe to the video. Hope to get you guys out some more mocks throughout the next few weeks as we approach the start of the season. Otherwise, that's it for today, guys. Hope you have a good one. Peace out.